For the Northern Azure Vest, I'm going to be using 3 skeins of this Twin Pines Alpacas Bumblebee. It's a 3-ply yarn made in Canada. 65% alpaca, 25% merino, and 10% bamboo. There's 183 meters per skein, and I have 3 coordinating colors here. I think they're going to look beautiful together. For the Northern Azure Vest, I'll be using a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook, but it's a good idea to check your gauge with a gauge swatch and see if that number will work for you, or if you need to size it up or down a little bit depending on how you crochet. The Northern Azure Vest is a custom fit vest, meaning that you start with your measurements and insert the numbers from there. So on the first page of the pattern, which is available on Etsy for purchase, you can find the formula for customizing the fit. So the project is worked vertically, up and down the length of the vest. It's approximately 28 inches long from top to bottom. So if you would like to increase the length, you can add a multiple of 10 stitches to increase the length when you do your starting chain. Conversely, you could reduce the length if you want a cropped vest. So 28 is kind of the one size fits all measurement, but if you would like to make it a longer tunic style to wear with leggings or something, add 10 or 20 stitches and you can make it longer. As far as the measurement around, start with your actual bust measurement or chest measurement. So if I'm using a chest measurement of 43 inches, I need to multiply by the numbers on the pattern to figure out the measurements for the various parts of the vest. So the right front, I'm going to multiply that 43 by 35% or 0.35 to get the right front measurement. It's an offset join at the front. So it's offset to the left. If you wanted it to be offset to the right, you could customize it by flipping the right and left front measurements. But to follow the pattern, we're going to take 43 and multiply that by 0.35 to get the right front measurement, which in this case is 15.05. So we're going to round that to 15 inches. You can convert to centimeters if you like. So that's the first measurement we need. 43 times 0.50 for the back. Gives us 21.5 inches. And the left front is 15% of 43, so 43 times 0.15. 6.45, so I'm going to round that up to 6.5 inches. So that will give us a total of 43 inches. There are a few rows under the arms in the pattern, and that will add the ease. You'll probably wear this over a t-shirt or something like that, so just measure with a t-shirt on, multiply by these numbers, and that will give you a custom fit for the vest. Alright, let's get started. This vest has 3 colors, as I mentioned earlier. I've put them into cakes and I'm going to use them in this order. So the navy, and then the purple, and then this mossy green here. It will be a little bit hard because the colors are dark to see my stitches, but you can still follow along and work with whatever colors you've chosen. So the first step is to chain 96. So this is a multiple of 10 plus 6. And I will come back when I've finished my 96. Okay, so I've got my 96 chains. 2 things to note here. I'm going to be working in the back bump of the chain going across. You can work in the top loop too. Either one would be fine. I just like the finish that you get when you work in the back bump. The second thing is to note on the pattern the starting double crochet. You can use a chain 3 double crochet as your starting double crochet. So the traditional chain 3 as in place of that first double crochet. I'm going to be using a stacked single crochet. So in the second chain from the hook, I'm going to make a single crochet, go into the further leg again, pick up another loop, and go through 2. So that's going to be the starting double crochet for each row, is a stacked single crochet. If you would wish to do a chain 3 and turn, you're going to need to do 2 more chains. Okay, I only have 1 turning chain here because I'm going to start with a stacked one, but you could do 2 more. The idea is to end up with 95 double crochets at the end of this row. So working in the back loop of the chain, I'm going to work all the way across and then double check at the end to make sure I have 95. It's very important that you have the right number for the pattern to work. So when I get to the end, I'll come back and we'll continue with row 2. So I've got my 95 double crochets, and you can see why I like working in the back bump. It leaves a nice row of V's on the bottom side of your work that match the top side. There's various options for closing the seam at the front of this vest, so it's nice to leave a clean edge like that. Okay, so row 2. I'm going to make a starting double crochet. There's no turning chain, just turn it around. Starting double crochet by making a single crochet in that first stitch, go into the far leg, pick up another one, and go through 2. So it makes a bulkier stitch than your traditional chain 3, which looks better. Now I'm going to double crochet in each of the next 4. Oh, I split my yarn there. Do that one again. For a total of 5 double crochets, including your starting double crochet. Then I'm going to chain 7 and skip 5. Okay, so I'm going to skip the next 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go into the 6th one with my next double crochet. So you'll have a nice big space there with 7 chains and 5 missed double crochets at the base. And I'm going to double crochet for a total of 5 double crochets again. And I'm going to repeat that across. Chain 7, skip 5, make 5 double crochets, and continue that across to the end. So there's 7, skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go into the 6th one with another group of 5 double crochets. So I'm going to continue that until the end and then rejoin you for row 3. So at the end of this row, you've worked the length of your vest. So you should have a piece that's about 28 inches long. And you should have 3, 6, 9 chain 7 spaces. So now we're going to go on to row 3. This is our last row in this color. We're going to switch to color B after this row. So just like before, turn around without a turning chain, make a starting double crochet in that first double crochet, then double crochet in the next 4. So you're stacking 5 double crochets on top of the 5 in the previous row. Like that. This time we're going to chain 5. And then working in front of this chain, I'm going to go down to the middle double crochet from that first row. So of that group of 5, it'll be this middle one. And I'm going to work 1 single crochet in that center double crochet, working in front of the 7 chains from the previous row. So the 7 chains are in behind. I've done a single crochet in that center double crochet, then chain 5 more, and do 5 double crochets on top of the previous group of 5. Then the same thing again, chain 5, single crochet in the center double crochet of the group from the row below, 2 rows below, chain 5, and 5 double crochets. So it's going to make a nice open work pattern, and once we switch colors, you'll see how they crisscross over each other, and it makes a really nice effect. So I'm going to continue that until the end of this row. So as I mentioned, at the end of row 3, we're going to switch colors. So you want to change colors when you still have 1 loop left to go on your hook. So I'm going to cut this one, but I want to leave a 6-inch length at least, because this vest has a fringe at the bottom. And that will become part of the fringe. You can also work them in if you don't want a fringe, or you can make up your mind later and leave a piece for now and work it in later if you change your mind. Okay, so I'm going to go next to the purple yarn. Leaving a 6-inch end again, pull it through the last 2 loops in row 3 to switch colors. You can tie these together if you want, or leave it until later. Turn around, and we're going to make row 4 in the same way, making a starting double crochet with a stacked single. And then double crochet in the next 4. It's nice with this pattern that it's very easy to tell if you've dropped a stitch here and there, because your count won't work at the end of the row and you won't end up with a group of 5, and then you'll be able to adjust before you go to the next row. Okay, now just like row 2, we're going to chain 7 and then double crochet in the next group of 5. The first 3 rows were our setup rows, and now we are going to do to repeat the next 2 rows as we go through the vest. So just continue that the rest of the way across, and I'll come back for row 5. Row 5 is where you really start to see how this stitch design comes together. So if you're following along on the pattern, we're on the 2nd page, row 5. Once again, make a starting double crochet and 4 double crochets to make that first group of 5. And just like in row 3, we're going to chain 5. And this time, I'm going to go in front of this group of 7 chains from the previous row and single crochet around the group of 7 chains from 3 rows below. So don't worry about going into any particular chain, just go around the middle of it and then 5 more chains. Okay, so we've grabbed onto that group of 7 from 3 rows below and pulled it up in behind here and in front of this group of 7. I'll do another one and then you'll get to see the effect. Chain 5, go in front of the purple group of 7 and go around the group of 7 from the blue from 2 rows below, 3 rows below. Another 5 chains and another group of 5 double crochets. Once you get the hang of the repeat, you won't need to keep looking at the pattern. It will be pretty obvious. It's just a 2-row repeat. So each color will be 2 rows from now on, a row 4 and a row 5. And we're just going to repeat row 4 and row 5, switching colors after each group of 2 rows. So I'll go to the mossy green next. And again, leaving a 6-inch tail for the fringe, go back and do 2 more rows. And I'll continue that for the rest of the front length measurement. The right front, I figured out, needs to be 15 inches wide. So I'll continue these rows 4 and 5, switching colors in sequence. So the green and then the blue again and then the purple again until I get to 15 inches, give or take. And then we'll start the underarm rows. So I'll come back at that point. So the front of the vest is finished. Now I'm ready for the armhole shaping. On your pattern, we're looking at armhole row 1. And you'll just start out as a regular row 4, making 5 double crochets and 7 chains for a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups and 5 more double crochets. Now for the top part, we're going to continue in the same manner, but only put 5 chains between each, because 7 will be too much, because these ones are going to stay straight across instead of being pulled up. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. So chain 5 and 5 double crochets. And do that for a total of 4 times. For armhole row 2, I'm going to make a starting double crochet in the first double crochet and 4 more. And then I'm going to continue doing double crochets with 5 in the chain 5 space. So I continued for a total of 45 double crochets, and then the rest of the row looks just like a regular row 5. The next 2 rows are going to be short rows, so I'm going to do a row 4 and a row 5, but they stop at this point. So I'll show you when those are done so you can see what I mean, and then we'll continue up the other side of the armhole. So I did 2 short rows in the blue for under the arm. If you wanted the armhole longer, you could just adjust by 10 stitches, but this should fit most sizes. The next row is worked just as a regular row 4 up until the armhole, and then I'm going to chain 41 to get me up to the same point here. So on my chain of 41, in the second chain from the hook, I'm going to make, or I have made, a double crochet, a starting double crochet, and then I'm going to do another 39 to get me back to where the armhole divides. On the other side of the arm, the first 2 rows at the top part by the armhole are worked the same way we did at the beginning, where we did row 2 and 3 for our setup rows, and then the rest is just continuing in the pattern. And from there you can continue across the back until you get to the right measurement. Work the armhole for the other side in the same way, and then a short section for the front. I hope you're enjoying this project. I'll see you when this is almost done. Alright, so here's the vest all done. When you come to the last couple of rows on the left front, you're going to do the second last row as a armhole row 1 for the whole row, meaning that you'll do 5 double crochets, 5 chains, 5 double crochets, 5 chains, and on the return row a double crochet in each one. That's your final row. And then you can finish off the front in a variety of ways. I've sewn up the front here with a piece on the wider side folded back as a collar, but you could put a tie or a button or a shawl pin, anything you like on there. And on the other end, I tied the leftover pieces together to add a fringe and used whatever yarn I had left to add a little bit more fringe. And that is it. It's a fairly simple shape, but it looks really nice over a long sleeve t-shirt or a pair of leggings. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my tutorials to go with my patterns, and drop me a comment if you tried this pattern for yourself. I'd love to hear how it worked out for you. Have a super day.